Hello everybody and welcome to the Hidden Breach and our very first Malifaux 3rd edition battle report, this time in the English language. I'm doing an off-the-screen post-game commentary of our game. We are playing 50 Soul Stones, Jack Daw versus von Schtook, and I would really value your opinion. So leave a comment and tell us how you like this version of the video, and we are jumping into the scenario and the crew selection right now. In this game we are playing Turf War strategy, we are playing standard deployment, and our schemes for today are assassinate, claim jump, let them bleed, spread them out, and bait and switch. We start with the crew selection. I start as the attacker. I'm playing Jack Daw and his token Lady Lijaya, his henchman Montresor, Yakuna Ubume, one dead outlaw, one guilty, and as versatile models I've chosen the hodgepodge emissary and the prospector. For my schemes I've chosen assassinate and claim jump with the hodgepodge emissary. Christian plays Professor von Schtook as the defender. He has chosen the Whisper as an upgrade for von Schtook and the Research Assistant, of course, as his totem. He has chosen Anna Lovelace as his henchman and the Dead Rider as a versatile enforcer. He plays the Student of Viscera with a Killer Instinct upgrade and, of course, another Student of Viscera with a Killer Instinct upgrade. Today we see no Valedictorian on the field, and Christian has chosen Assassinate and Spread them out for his schemes. Regarding the terrain, I'll give you an overview of our table for today's match. We are playing the 3 houses as height infinite, blocking unclimbable terrain. We have a bank of fog there that's played as dense concealing, and the park around it is played as severe terrain. Down at the bottom right of the map we got some rocks, which we are going to play as blocking height 3 terrain with the different steps playing as height 1, 2, 3 respective. All the brush you see there is played as height 2 blocking destructible terrain, while the river is severe terrain on the entire length, apart from, of course, the bridge and the stepping stones at the bottom. We go over to the barbed wire mesh wire fences, which we are playing as hazardous terrain for damage 1 and injured +1. Then there is the traditional gallows, which is on nearly every table and is height 2 blocking terrain. All the scatter terrain is played as height 1 blocking destructible terrain. And the second fog bank is dense concealing as well. And the ruins on the right side of the board are played as severe terrain. Starting with deployment, I deploy first. I offer to deploy Jack Daw, Montresor, Lady Lijaya, or the rest of my crew. And Christian has wisely chosen for me to deploy the whole rest. I've deployed Guilty on the right side of the river, and all the rest on the left side of the river. From right to left, the Dead Outlaw, Yakuna Ubume, the Hodgepodge Emissary, and a Prospector. Then Christian went and deployed all of his crew as the defender. From his right he started with the Dead Rider, the Student of Viscera with the upgrade. In the middle he has Professor von Schtook, Anna Lovelace and the Research Assistants beside the wall there, and the Student of Viscera is lurking in the river. Then I went and deployed all the rest of my crew and put them in the middle between the Hodgepodge Emissary and the Prospector. And yeah, from now we can start the game. That's the starting hand for the Jack Daw crew, turn 1, pretty decent I guess. And that's the starting hand for the Professor von Schtook crew, round 1, and of course he pulled at least 1 joker. The initiative flip of round 1 went as a draw. So we reflipped this and yeah, I got a 13, he got a 3, and I decided for him to go first. Christian played 1 of his pass tokens and I started the first turn by activating my Guilty. He's taking a walk action to go on the other side of the strategy marker, and then he used an interact to turn it over to our side. Christian played his second pass token after that, and I activated the Prospector. The Prospector walked up to the strategy marker and turned him over to my side, as well as getting stunned at the beginning of his activation to give me another soulstone. Afterwards, Christian finally had to do something with his activations, so he went and activated Professor von Schtook, and he tried to give the kill some get some upgrade to the student of Sarah in the river, which went off with a 12. For his second AP, he uses Academic Broadcast to give everyone in 6 inches concentrate. And then he concentrates for another focus for himself. And then he takes a walk action. Next, I activate the Hodgepodge Emissary. He uses the bonus action Wary Road on Jakuno Ubume, who can then take a move 3 and drop a ski marker into base contact with herself. And the ski marker is put behind her. The Hodgepodge Emissary uses plenty of wares on Jack Daw. Needing a 6 there, only got a 4, so I cheat in a 9, I guess. So I cheat in a 9. And then Jack Daw heals 1, 2, 3, flipping the Black Joker and then getting the upgrade Memento. Second AP with the Hodgepodge Emissary, he does plenty of wares on Montresor, who also heals 1 after succeeding and then gets the upgrade Vitality Potion. Christian goes and activates the Student of Viscera on the upper right. Uses the bonus action Ambush, then turns the marker over to his side and uses second AP to concentrate and is done. Next I go with Lady Jaya, who moves up to the brush and uses the Destroy Terrain action to destroy the terrain. Next, the second Student of Viscera goes. He uses Ambush. Christian discards 2, I guess. So he goes to the marker. There's the 2. He interacts to turn the marker over to his side and concentrates for his second focus. I activate the Dead Outlaw, who does this tactical action Covetous Cravings on Jakuno Boom, which fails, so I have to cheat in an 11 to get it off, and this makes Jakuno take a ski marker away to get fast, so Jakuno Ubume is now fast. And next the Dead Outlaw takes a walk action and is done. Christian goes and activates Anna Loveless, who concentrates and then goes for a walk action to get into more cover. Montresor goes and takes a little walk action and drops a ski marker for better coverage for later. Christian goes and activates our favorite research assistant, who takes a walk action, and then he tries to make a vile reclamation on the Student of Viscera. He needs nothing because the Student of Viscera is going to relent, giving the Student of Viscera injured. The whole sense of this application was to get a Tomes trigger for search and draw a card, and then he concentrates and is done. I'll go with Jack Daw. Jack Daw uses Drawn to Betrayal on Montresor, needing a 6, which he gets. Then he takes a walk action. And then he drops another ski marker and also takes a concentrate action and is done. The Dead Rider is going to move over to Professor von Schtook and then is going to ride with me and push 5 inches back and take the Professor with him, because Christian was very afraid of the Professor getting lured in by Jakuno Ubume. I activate Jakuno Ubume. Jakuno Ubume is going to double walk behind the house. And she goes over there. And then she drops another ski marker for the next round. In the end phase, we got the Deadly Pursuit pushes of the Student of Viscera. One goes over there. And the other one goes over here. So, summary of round 1, nothing special happened. I moved a bit more forward than he did. His student officer moved over. I got a good spread of scheme markers around my side of the board. We each get 2 strategy markers. And he's in a very defensive huddle on his right side, which I did not understand at this time because I was thinking of him going aggressively forward, but he was, I guess, afraid of Jack Daw ripping him to shreds. And at this point, I was hoping for a more entertaining second round. So, round 2, hand cards for Jack Daw, not bad again. This is after spending a soulstone, and that's Christian's hand for the second round, which is pretty much more or less the same hand that he had in the first round. Initiative flip goes to me again, and I decide for Christian to go first. He goes with the research assistant, who steps up and takes a peek around the gallows, and then wants to drop a shockwave marker. Uses his focus. At this point we misplayed the not a bomb trigger, because if you use the not a bomb trigger you only get a ski marker and your opponent does not have to pass the movement duel for the damage and the poison. I pass my movement duel, and then Christian drops a ski marker right in the middle. The Dead Outlaw then goes and does a little charge into the river and then takes a gun action with this Collier revolver at the research assistant. So 5 versus his defense for 2, 3, 4 damage. And I have 13. He uses his concentrate and gets up to a 19 because he's in cover, so that failed. And then the Dead Outlaw uses Covetous Cravings on Jackanu Ubuma, needing a 5, which he gets. So Jackanu Ubuma makes herself fast by taking away the ski marker. Christian activates the Student of Viscera, takes a charge action, then takes the ambush bonus action, because he's in concealing terrain, and then drops a ski marker under his butt. Then the guilty goes, because he's afraid of the Student of Viscera, and starts to run toward Christian's strategy marker on the right side. And he tries the bonus action on the research assistant. Yeah, I need a 7 because it's target number 12. I take a 12, so it's 5 against his willpower. I sit on a Comfi 17. He failed with an 11, so he has to discard a card. Then the Prospector goes between his friends Ligeia and Montresor. And he does a praise on the ski marker that was dropped by Montresor. I flip a 5. At this point the flip cam went out of power because unforeseenly I was an idiot and forgot to plug in the power. So I flipped the 13 on the appraise flip. And I was thinking about dropping one of his ski markers before I realized that he probably had spread them out by this point and that would be stupid. And then I draw a card, which was this card. And he went stunned by the way and got myself another Sunstone. Christian goes with the pass token. I activate Lady Ligeia. She takes a walk action and then concentrates herself. And she's done. Christian activates Professor von Schtook. And we remember to record all the whisper cards. Then he's going to give the other student officer the Kill Some Get Some upgrade, which he passes with flying colors. Then he drops a ski marker, and then he tries to give fast to the Viscera, which of course works out. Next, Hodgepodge Emissary goes, he takes a walk action, and then he makes his bonus action a Very Road on Montresor, who can then drop another ski marker. And for a second AP, he takes a walk action forward behind Montresor and Lady Ligeia, and then he's done. Anna Loveless does a double walk action over there, and it's done. Then I'll go with Montresor, who goes to the proxy marker there, and then throws his lovely rope towards Anna. So we're going to do toss the noose, which is 6 versus defense for 2, 3, 4 damage and staggered. I sit on a 16 and he's sitting on a 17. I decide to want her staggered and cheat to a 19, which he denies me with the red joker, which works because she's standing in cover. Then the dead rider is dancing his way through his mates. Then he takes a ride with me action, pushing towards the marker, taking the student of Viscera with him, because ridiculously he can take students of Viscera with him. And then he's going to concentrate for another focus. Jackanu Boom goes, and I shift her over to the other side for some reason. And she wants to lure in the dead rider. So it's 7 against his willpower. I sit on a 13, he's sitting on a 19. Then I'm going to activate the Drowning Aura, which I need to 5-4, which goes off when she's done. Christian is going to activate the student of Viscera. He's going to walk charge. And then drops the ski marker under his butt. And takes his bonus action, which is 6 against willpower. So a bit of measurement there, and he has to shift him over just a bit to make that work, which is no problem. And then off we go. He ignores my terrifying because he is ruthless because of the killer instinct upgrade. And he does not use focus, so I have 14, he sits on an 8. And because he likes to get stunned to Jack Daw, he cheats up to a 17. And for some reason at this point I'm thinking about not cheating that until Christian tells me that he has the trigger that makes me slow, which kind of tips me into the right direction of, yeah, cheating that to an 18, so he fails. Next, Jackie goes, and Jack Daw does his suppressed memories attack action on the student of Viscera. It's 6 against willpower, and it does 2 to 3 damage and gives him one of the nice Jack Daw upgrades. He uses his focus for defensive purposes, and yeah, he lands on a 10, on a 9 better, because he's -1 willpower due to my aura, and I land on an 18. So he doesn't cheat. It would be a straight flip, but he's hard to wound, so I go to a minus flip. And I do moderate damage of 3. And due to the armor, it goes down to 2. That's the first damage of the game. And he gets the Curse of Injustice upgrade, which makes him join the Tormented keyword, which is great, and then also makes him staggered every start phase of every turn, which is even better. Then Jack Daw takes a walk action over to the front, where he belongs in my opinion, and tries to give the same treatment to the rider. So 6 against willpower, it's 18 to 15 because his willpower is -1 due to my aura, and goes to a 19, and I can't cheat at that point. In hindsight, I've realized that I should have probably targeted Anna. Then the student of Viscera goes, and the other student of Viscera goes in the end phase with their deadly pursuit pushes. He gets injured and the damage. And Christian tells me that he has surprisingly spread them out. So, summary of the second turn. Guilty is on my right side going for a strategy marker, and Student of Viscera is going for my strategy marker. The Dead Outlaw is chilling in the river, and on the left side there's the battle unfolding. Yeah, like there's the whole of my crew. The Student of Viscera has decided that he wants to go for the crown jewels right away and has stepped over to my marker. Both players get 1 point for the strategy, and Christian gets 1 point for spread them out. Yeah, there's my overlay. Lovely. So this is the starting hand for the Jack Daw crew round 3. I've ditched 2 3s and spent a soulstone to ditch the other 2 3s in my deck, so I've rid myself of 3s. And that's Christian's starting hand for round 3, and he also used the soulstone. So that's the initiative flip, and I'm losing at this point, and what now follows is my brain working like crazy. What I want to do, if I want to cheat, if it's worth cheating the Joker. And I decide it's worth cheating the Joker because I don't like that student officer in my deployment zone. And I go and activate Jack Daw, who does this drawn to betrayal on the student officer. For some reason we forgot the resist flip at this point, and he moves over. And then he charges the student officer and attacks him, of course. He's using Deadman's Collar, which is doing 2, 3, 4 damage and forces him to ditch a card if he has got staggered. And he's staggered because he got the upgrade, which gives him staggered every starting round of every turn. So it's 8 against 15 because he used his concentrate. I cheat up to 17, so it's 17-15 with Ram's trigger, which is the +2 damage if the target has staggered. So we're sitting now at a comfortable 4, 5, 6 damage track. Would be a minus flip and goes to double minus flip because of hard to wound. And we're going for weak, severe, moderate, which turns into weak, and he gets 4 damage. He has 1 armor, so he takes 3, and which leaves him with 3 left at this point. And of course, with this second AP, we are doing the same thing once again. I spend a Soul Stone on Ram's trigger because I want to make sure that he dies. And I, of course, draw Ram's trigger from the deck, and he draws the red Joker, so it was all in vain. And I have to spend my third AP at this point to make sure he dies. And I spend another Soul Stone, and I have gotten a 17. He's sitting on a 12. Would be a double minus flip at this point. He can't do nothing about it with his hand right now. So he takes another 4 damage at this point. And which killed the student officer and saves my bacon on this side of the map regarding our strategy marker. Sadly, I can't reflip any of the other strategy markers. He drops his corpse marker, and then he has to discard the 2 cards that are the mandatory requirement for him because of my attack action. And then Jack Daw is done, and I can draw a card, a model with an upgrade in my activation. So his retaliation activation is the student officer on the right side of the map, who ditches a 6 for ambush and then takes a rush action. He's unimpeded, so he ignores the severe terrain and charges my Dead Outlaw. And he takes 1 concentrate to attack me. The Dead Outlaw is defense 4, so it's 6 against 4 for 2, 4, 5 damage with an inbuilt cross trigger for injured. We are sitting at 14-11, and I decide that there's not much I can really do for my Dead Outlaw at this point. He gets a double cross trigger for injured +2. And he gets a minus flip because of my hard to wound. And he does weak damage for 2. So the Dead Outlaw takes 2 damage, leaving him at 5 and gets injured +2. And of course, Christian does it again, uses his second focus. Sits on a 17 with a puncture trigger, and I am sitting at a whopping 3. Very tempting not to do anything about this. He has a plus flip, then he gets more plus flips because of concentrate and puncture, and I give him 1 minus flip. He is sitting at double plus flip. Fairly nets him severe damage for 5, which offs the Dead Outlaw and gives Christian free reign over this flank. And of course, because it's Professor von Schtook, he has the kill some, get some upgrade and decides that he wants to get an undergraduate. So he summons an undergraduate, which gets slow into base contact with my killed model. Yeah, and I remind Christian, because I'm a fair player, that he can take away the corpse marker to gain a soul stone. Afterwards, I go with Montressor, does his tactical action cost to watch on Jacuno Boomer, which makes her take an action, needs a 4, gets a 6. So I want Jakuna to do a lure on Anna Lovelace, which is 7th against her willpower, needing a 5 first, but well, whatever. 17 to his 8. He doesn't want to cheat, so Anna moves her maximal movement towards Jakuna Boomer and sadly gets stuck between the Dead Rider and the brush there. For a second action, he takes the Toss the Noose, which is 6 versus defense for 2, 3, 4 damage and staggered. It's 10 versus okay, he doesn't really want it, but I want it. So we're going a 19 to 18 at this point. Inbuilt slow trigger for me on this card, so he will get 2, 3, 4 damage staggered and slow. Would be a minus flip. And I get moderate damage for 3 damage, but she is armor 1. And he uses his Soul Stone to reduce the damage to 0, because I think he's afraid that I've got Let Them Bleed. And then he goes for his bonus action, Asphyxiation, needs a 6, gets it done. Then Christian goes and activates Professor von Schtook. Those are his Whisper cards. For his first action, he does an administrative review on Anna to remove all the condition he likes from her, and needing a 6. Gets it with a 13 easy, so takes away the slow and the staggered, leaving the concentrate for some reason. For his second AP, he's going to take a walk action. Then he attacks Anna Lovelace, flipping both the low cards in the right order, getting them out of his deck, and nothing happens. I go with Lady DJO, which is her great moment. I do the attack action Projected Voice on the Student of Viscera. It's 4 against willpower for 2, 3, 4 blast damage. Yeah, use my concentrate and get a 17 to 10. Oh, sorry, it's 16 to 10. And then I draw an epic severe damage. So the Student of Viscera gets 4 damage. Takes 3, gets staggered, and then a blast marker is deployed onto the head of the undergraduate, who takes another 3 damage. And after that has happened, I sadly forget that officially the undergraduate would also get staggered because it's inbuilt into the attack. Christian goes with the Dead Rider, who is going to take a walk action and then charge in for his glory moment of this game. He uses a focus to hit the Prospector over the head with his scythe. That's a 6 against defense for 3, 4, 5 damage. And he has got a 9, I'm sitting on a 10. So he decides that he does not like me to get any more Soul Stones and cheats into a 16. I'm cheating to a 16 too, because I'm hoping that the minus flip will keep my Prospector alive. So double minus flip plus concentrate gets him to a minus flip. And of course he draws moderate damage. So Prospector takes 4 damage, leaving him at 2 health. And then of course he goes and uses 5 tokens, flips an 8, he uses his bonus action, Revel in Death, and the Soulfire trigger, which makes everybody within 6 inches of my models take 2 damage, ignoring hard to kill and demise abilities. And actually I would have gained injured, but we forgot about this because it was such a tense moment. No, Prospector dies, which turns my strategy marker, leaves a corpse, and everyone else takes 2 damage. So Montressor, Jakuna, Lady Ligeia, the Hodgepodge Emissary, and Jack Daw. I ditch a card for changing the damage on Jack Daw to 1. Activate the Hodgepodge Emissary. He's going to use a Very Road on himself and drop another scheme marker there. And then he's going to take a walk action. And then he's going to throw junk at the Student of Viscera, which is 6 versus defense for 2, 3, 4 damage. And has an inbuilt cross trigger to give him slow. Okay, I sit on an 8, he's at a 14, but I want him slow. So I cheat to a 15, which we leave at that point. It's a double minus flip. I do weak damage. Because of his armor, he just takes 1 damage, which leaves him at 2 health. And then the undergraduate goes, moves over and is done because he's slow. I activate Jack Daw, who's going to activate the Drowning Aura, which fails. I cheat in a 5 to make it go off anyways. And then she's going to charge to prepare the Dead Rider for all the things to come. She uses Tearpart, 6 versus his defense for 2, 3, 5 damage. 15 to 16 at this point. 15 to 17, sorry. So I just decide to do it again. Yeah, we're going 19 to 17 at this point. So no triggers, and it's going to be a double minus flip. And it stays weak. He takes 2 damage. Then he goes with the research assistant, laughing as he goes. He goes up to the gallows and then throws a shockwave towards my guilty, which doesn't work out, but he cheats in with the Ram's trigger to drop off another shockwave, I guess, and drops the second shockwave beside the Hodgepodge Emissary, so both of my models must take a target number 14 movement duel or suffer 2 damage and get poison +1, which I think is ridiculous for such a token. The guilty suffers 2 damage and poison 1, and the Hodgepodge Emissary suffers 2 damage and gets poison 1. So much for 4 Soulstone totem models, which don't have ridiculous abilities at all. So I activate the freshly poisoned guilty, who moves up to his marker, but he needs a double move, so I can't switch it. Anna Lovelace decides to take a pot shot at Jack Daw, using her concentrate, giving him a normal flip because of 3 incontinence. At this point it's 19 to 17, which gives him a straight flip, and this is more damage. He can't cheat because he has no hand cards anymore. Jack Daw takes 2 damage because Incorporeal reduces the damage by 1, and then he does it again, and I draw the Black Joker, which gives him 13 to my 5. A plus flip because he used Concentrate, and gives Moderate for 3 damage, goes down to 2 damage, so Jack Daw has just 1 health point left at this moment. This was the end of round 3. Finally we got some action. On the overview, I got no strategy markers. Christian has another strategy point. I declare that I have Claim Jump as my first scheme. And right now it's 3 to 2 in favor of Christian, and yeah, the Dead Rider's in the middle of my crew, and at that moment I see problems ahead. Anna and the Professor are chilling out in his back line. Student Officer and the undergraduate have my marker secured, while my guilty is trying to do his best to make himself a valuable asset of my crew. Now the Hodgepodge Emissary and the guilty suffer 1 damage, and on we go. Those are the cards for the Jack Daw crew, round 4. Rather mediocre, but not bad. Those are the cards for the Professor von Schtook crew. We both used the Soulstone. I win initiative, and because of his crappy hand cards, he can't cheat, which I didn't know at this moment. I was wondering. I decide to go first, and yeah, I activate Montresor, who does a charge action and attacks the rider. It's stat 6 versus movement for 2, 3, 4 damage. He has an inbuilt stagger trigger. I'm an 8, he sits on a 13. I decide that I want him staggered. So I cheat to a 19, and because of his crappy hand cards again, he can't cheat, otherwise it would be easy for him to cheat that. It's going to be a minus flip because of hard to wound. I do weak damage for 2. And he uses some of his tokens to reduce damage. And at this point we are doing a mistake. You can't use the Dead Rider tokens to reduce the damage to 0. So we play it as if though you can. So the Dead Rider stays on living longer than he should. And then I'm out of my head. So Minus flip again for the second attack. He takes 2 damage. We are totally forgetting Lady J's aura at this point in time. He would have to ditch cards for every card he cheats, so he gets away lucky there. And yeah, then I do Montrous's bonus action, which gives Christian another point of damage. And then I ditched the 7 to activate Jack Daw because he got the upgrade from the Hodgepodge Emissary. And he uses his 1 concentrate after he charged over there to hit the rider. 6 versus movement again. His movement is 5 because he got staggered. And I pull an 11 of Rams, luckily. So it's 17 to another card that I can see. So he stays at minus flip. I got the Rams trigger for +2 damage again. And yeah, I pull double moderate. So he takes 5 damage, which he reduces by 1 token. And the crow from the card he pulled from his deck. Also, I forget that he has to ditch cards whenever he is staggered. For the next attack, we are on 10 versus 16. And for the third attack, which is this flip, we are on 16 to 15. And he can't do nothing about it at this point. He cheats again, which should have him ditch another card. So I pull another double moderate out of my head. And then he takes 4 damage, reduces by 1 because of the cross trigger. And then the dead rider is finally dead. And I try to do my bonus action with Jack Daw, which fails. And then he goes with Anna. Anna over there is going to shoot at Lady Jaya. 16 to 10, I'm sorry. And he has a straight flip and does 5 damage, which kills her outright. And then because of Professor von Schtook's recruitment drive, he can drop a ski marker into base contact with the killed model. And then for some reason, he retreats with Anna. I activate Jack Boomer, who is happy that Anna did not shoot at her furthermore, and goes over there and turns the strategy marker towards my side. Then it's time for the research assistant again. Okay, he will be throwing shockwaves again for good measure. Christian needs a 6, gets an 8. Yeah, of course, with the right trigger again, I have to do the movement duel. And he drops a ski marker because we misread the trigger. Usually he would have to choose which, but no problem with a 14. The Hodgepodge Emissary passes with flying colors. Then he tries to do shockwave on the guilty, which does not work. Then he throws another shockwave out with his cheated 7 of Rams. So he gets a second shockwave marker, so he places 1 beside the Hodgepodge Emissary, 1 beside the guilty. That's the Hodgepodge Emissary doing his movement duel, which fails, and the guilty luckily passes, because otherwise he would have been taken out. I'll activate the Hodgepodge Emissary, who does his bonus action, where he wrote. Then he does plenty of wares on himself, needing a 6. Healing 1 to 3. I cheat an 8 to make him heal 2. And then he repeats that action and passes, heals 1 to 3, heals 2 for healing 4 overall. And then I give myself the pretty frol bonnet because I'm thinking, why don't I? Christian, activate the Student of Rissera on the bottom right of the map, which switches the marker, and then he does an ambush and is done. Then the guilty goes and just flips the marker to my side. And then for no reason he tries Share Guild on the research assistant and utterly fails to hit the target number. Then the undergraduate goes to hide in the corner and drops another ski marker there to prepare for spread them out. I'm out of activations. The Professor von Schtook runs over there because he's afraid of his markers, and the Student of Viscera pushes up. Summary, round 4. Yeah, we had things dying this round. Very good. Lady Jaya went the horsemen died, I get a second point for the strategy. For some reason, he fled with Anna Lovelace, which I consider being a mistake at that point. But yeah, we were pretty tired and it was pretty tense. The undergraduate and the student officer on his right side are pretty damaged. On my side of the board, yeah, Jack is dead bar 1 health point, and the guilty has only 3 health left. Okay, cards for round 5 for the Jack Daw crew look like this, which is great. I spent a soul stone because at this point I don't need them anymore, and Christian also spent a soul stone and his hand looks like this. Initiative flip, we don't have any pass tokens at this point, so I win out. And Christian does not want to cheat. And then I let him go first. Christian activates the professor, and the professor is going to shoot the guilty. Take the black joker, shoots again with his second concentrate. And he pulls out a 19, so 19 to 16. Then he gets focused attention. For his trigger, gets another focus. So he does a minus flip, 19 to 16, concentrate and hard to wound equal out. And then he does weak damage for 2. And he uses his newfound focus and shoots again. And there's my black joker, great. So he's sitting at 13 to 4. Yeah, 13 to 4. Which would give him a straight flip for 2 damage weak, but that kills the guilty anyway because he just has 1 health point left at this point, which flips the marker over to neutral and also neutrals all my chances for another strategy point. I activate Montressor. He takes a walk action to up there and then throws his rope over the brush. So it's 6 versus defense for 2, 3, 4 damage and staggered. I have 7, he has a 12, I cheat to a 17 and he doesn't want to get caught, so he cheats to an 18 and yeah, Montressor's done. Anna Lovelace moves over to that side of the house via a double walk and then uses study to turn the corpse marker into a ski marker. Then I go activate Jack Daw and take away both of the ski markers because they both were in base contact with the corpse marker. And yeah, there goes spread them out. And then the student officer goes and drops a ski marker. I activate the hodgepodge emissary, take away the ski marker in the middle, and for no obvious reason at all, I flip the marker to my side because I can. Why not? And at this point, we decide to just skip the other activations because they would not change anything in the outcome of the game. We both have 2 markers, so we don't get another marker. I get a 4th point for the claim drop and condition. And yeah, the game ends 4-3 for Jack Daw. If you liked what you saw and heard, please subscribe to our channel and give it a thumbs up. And there's the friendly fist bump. We would have liked to have an after the game chat, but we finished on 11:30 on a Friday evening after a week of working and decided to not furthermore record what we were saying to each other at that point. Anyhow, it was a fun and very tense game. We were dancing around each other, fearing to make the first mistake. I, for my part, was very afraid to get slaughtered by all the ruthless models, and Christian, for his part, always thinks that Jack Daw is somehow broken and can't be killed. We got no points for assassinate, and we got only 2 points for the strategy. It was a very low-scoring game. For my part, I was expecting more aggression, and I think Christian was expecting the same, so we outdid each other in caution there. And I think I overall got lucky that he made some mistakes at the end and I didn't make as much mistakes. So that's the whole story of the game. I hope you liked what you saw, and I see you around the next time we do a Malifaux 3rd edition battle report.